The Nile River. Just saying its name conjures up pyramids, pharaohs, and bustling life along ancient banks. But there's more to this river than legends. The Nile is a lifeline and a battleground for millions living across 11 countries. Let's set the scene. The Nile stretches over 6,600 kilometers, snaking through Africa from Lake Victoria in the south to the Mediterranean in Egypt. Two main branches, the White Nile and the Blue Nile, bring its waters together just above Sudan's capital, Khartoum. But here's the twist. It's the Blue Nile, starting in Ethiopia's Lake Tana, that supplies most of the water reaching Egypt, especially during Ethiopia's rainy season, when up to 80% of the Nile's flow in Egypt comes from this single source. That dependence? It's intense. For Egypt, the Nile isn't just important, it's everything. 97% of Egypt's water comes from the river. Most of the country is desert, so nearly all Egyptians live huddled on just a tiny sliver of the land where the Nile flows. Meanwhile, upstream countries, like Ethiopia, Uganda, Tanzania, are also growing fast and struggling with their own water crises. In fact, almost everyone in the Nile basin is living with some kind of water scarcity. By 2030, more than 500 million people will depend on this river, and there just isn't enough water to go around. Historically, the Nile's annual flood was a miracle. Every year, it watered the fields and left behind rich silt that made Egypt the breadbasket of the ancient world. But starting in the 19th century, that cycle became a problem. Egypt wanted more predictability, more crops, more control. Enter the era of dams. First, there were small barrages. Then, in 1902, the British built the Aswan Low Dam. But it wasn't enough. So, in the 1960s, Egypt began work on a massive project, the Aswan High Dam. When it was finished in 1970, it created Lake Nasser, one of the world's largest man-made lakes. This was a feat of engineering, providing reliable water and electricity. It also had a human cost. Ancient Nubian villages were flooded, priceless temples had to be rescued and moved, and entire communities lost their homes. Today, the Aswan High Dam defines Egyptian agriculture and water supply. But it also ended the natural rhythm of the Nile, changing the environment forever. And now, a new challenge looms upstream, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Ethiopia wants to harness the Blue Nile for its own future, setting off a fierce debate over who controls the river's lifeblood. The Nile brings life, but it also divides nations. In the next episode, I'll dive into the modern drama of the Renaissance Dam and the high-stakes negotiations shaping the future of Africa's mightiest river. Stay tuned.